keep on batching my uploads instead of doing it in real time. Anyway, this is Twitter. As of 17 past 8 p.m, part 2.
They may not have had COVID-19. We all just need to respect everyone's individual decisions. People will use...
Actually, I'm going to give my... I saw Paul talking about this, and most of his video was just, she has a New Zealand accent. She pronounces respect as respect. That was actually good on my part. Holy crap. But anyway, it's like, he actually did have some proper points that were correct. It was like, New Zealand's was just a terrible place for Corona. It was like they openly admit it multiple times that they classify the unvaccinated as a separate class who are inferior to the vaccinated, which biologically was actually the opposite. But most of Paul's video is just, she says respect instead of respect. Anyway, after discriminating and terrorising her nation for not doing what she wanted them to do, the Prime Minister of New Zealand finally drops all health mandates. This is the point where everyone should be asking themselves, what was the point of all this? Yeah, she was like, we should respect people's personal choices. Well, what about, over 2 years of people's personal choices being, I'm not going to wear the mask, I'm not going to get the vaccine. Anyway, and just like that, person declares we all just need to respect people's individual decisions. Never forgive or forget what she said. In France, it is illegal for traders to refuse cash payments in lawful currency. Article 642-3 of the French Penal Code states traders cannot refuse cash payments for settling of accounts, and they can be fined up to €150 for doing so. We should copy this. It's funny, actually, watching the liberal media suddenly find their fondness of freedom of expression when it comes to expressing anti-monarchy sentiments. Where were they when the Batley Grammar School teacher was forced into hiding over showing a sodding cartoon? Democratic Mayor of New Orleans, Latoya Person, asserted that it was necessary to spend tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on luxury plane trips because as a black woman, she would have been unsafe flying economy. Is that why the leaders of BLM all buy mansions? So that they're safe? Anyway, the demonization of Americans continued on the anniversary of 9/11 when DHS chief Alejandro... I don't even know why I'm attempting to pronounce these people's names. Person suggested the biggest terror threat was domestic extremists radicalized by false narratives propagated on online platforms. I mean, he is correct. I'm not even kidding. He is genuinely correct. Islamic terrorism currently is not the biggest threat to the West in general. It is just online far left and far right terrorism. Although, part of that is a sandpiper, just in general. But the bit I'm thinking of right now was him saying that America deserved 9/11. As to why he said that, no one knows because it's a sandpiper we're talking about. How exactly did the Queen die? Just old age? Despite the avalanche of media coverage, not read much about this issue. There was in the photo of her shaking Lister's hand, apparently I've seen the photo and I've looked at her hand because my mum pointed it out. She said that her hand looked very bruised. I looked at it and I thought that just looks like a shadow to me, but I don't know. So if it is a bruise, then maybe it's whatever caused the bruise. Anyway, Brian Stelter, the former CNN anchor who was sacked for promulgating Russia collusion nonsense for 6 years, has been hired by Harvard, where he will convene a series of discussions about threats to democracy, according to the university. Turn volume down fully. What?
There is nothing you could possibly say to justify that level of lack of empathy. And that's the problem I feel like in this country at the moment. We were founded on the lack of empathy, and we just kept up with that tradition. If you have no empathy, abortion is devastating to women's mental health. No one talks about that. The year after a woman has an abortion, it's really like the year after a woman to have the child. What kind of trauma is that? The trauma is from the rape. The trauma is from the rape. The child's an innocent party there. The child is not there. We should not take out generational sin on a child to say there's generational.
Is it just me, or there seems to be a correlation with the bigger the hoops the person is wearing, the bigger of a cunt they are?
Sin, and that dad was an abuser, so the child should be killed. That's not fair to the child. About rights. And he just said, a right has been taken away from us. And what is...
Still, it's better than those people who have, like, the hoops inside their ear. Like, that is literally damaging your body. Like, you know, it's argued that getting normal earrings is normally piercing your ears, is damaging your body, because it is. But that's on a whole nother level.
That because our fundamental human right that we all share in this room is life. It's the first human right. Laws are meant to protect the weak. In a society, who's the weakest? Who's the weakest in a society? A child. They don't have a voice. They can't speak. A child is weak. But a poor child is going to keep them that way. And a child with disability, listen, whether you live 10 minutes or 10 years or 100 years, you're human life, and you have the right to not be killed. And that's what the pro-life fight is all about. That's what we're fighting for, a culture of life where we provide real health care. You know, abortion is the intentional destruction of an innocent being.
I like this woman. She's right, 100%. There is also no difficulty in asserting who has had multiple abortions. First episode of Brand New Podcast Led. I'm joined by author and journalist person to talk about government and media social engineering. Right, yeah, I was thinking, do you mean social media? But no, he means media, social engineering. You know, social engineering by the media. New Zealand PM person now has the nerve to ask for respect and everything after everything she's done to Kiwis over the last 2 years. Fascinating how there was no national hand ringing about free speech by the UK legacy media, as thousands of people a year were being interrogated and arrested for offensive tweets and others thrown in prison for sharing edgy memes in private chat groups. In group chats. Just went to Parliament Square and held up a blank piece of paper. Officer came and asked for my details. Jesus Christ, it's gotten that bad where you can't even hold up a piece of paper anymore. What are the schools gonna do? He confirmed that if I wrote "not my king" on it, he would arrest me under the Public Order Act because someone might be offended. What's that got to do with anything? He didn't write anything on the piece of paper. Like, so far, there is nothing on the paper. He could just be writing, I've just opened up a new laundromat. Here's the directions to it. You gonna arrest him for that? Brother came out, thank as per usual. So, never press resume activity or start activity on a game on PS5. I just did that, and it not only reset my progress in the mission, it completely screwed up quite a bit. Like, for one, this is Saints Row 5 I'm talking about here, which, after this I do need to do a middle review. Last night I was at level 20, which is the highest level you can get. Like, I don't mean mission 20, I mean like XP level. But it put me... Okay, currently it says I'm at level 3. I'm looking at it right now, but yet I have all the skills. Also, it just completely changed almost everything about my character. Like, the only things that weren't changed was the voice. Yeah, actually just the voice. like skin tone changed, and the clothes changed, and actually it's just the skin tone and the clothes. Like I had the skin tone as whiter, but it changed it to the one of the blackest skin tones that there is. Like people are going to call me racist, but the reason why I have it the way it is because I want it to be as accurate to the cover art as I can. Like this is the canonical character. Anyway, so if don't forget, middle review Saints Row 5. It's still a fantastic game, Charlie. I've looked at some other stuff about the game, like it's got a 4.4 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which makes it the worst Saints Row game of all time, making it worse than Agents of Mayhem, which was a 5.9, I think. I can say right now that Saints Row 5 is nowhere near as bad as Agents of Mayhem, and I like Agents of Mayhem, but this game is so much better. I also saw people reviewing on IMDb. Some guy said that he enjoys it, but he feels guilty about that. Like, I hate to sound like an English teacher or a trans person, but why are you feeling so guilty? Just relax and don't be ashamed about it. Nothing to be ashamed about.
Dan, checking your homework?
I didn't mention this in the beginning review because I didn't notice it then, but the reason why this game isn't as good as the originals is because the humor of the first 4 was quite anti-PC. It is not politically correct at all. But with this, it is. But the game just wouldn't be able to. It would be cancelled immediately if it weren't PC. So between, I'd much rather have the game as is than not have it at all. As for glitches, there have been some, like the map freezes when you scroll on certain things for some reason, and also what I mentioned a couple minutes ago, but that might be a problem with the PS5 and not Saints Row itself. I don't know. I've never had resume activity / start activity on a PS5 game. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. This DMs. I'm not on Twitter yet. I just wanted to make sure I do this so I don't forget. This DMs as of 11. Well, it says 11 on my tablet. 11:02. I sent to Jessica a photo of Raccoon saying, "Shy people flirt by sending memes." She then replied, "Hammy, where's Jackie Bear? He won't reply to me. Go find him." I said, "I'm in Bangor. I'll have to look later." "Oh my god, Hammy, I'm also in Bangor." But by the time I seen this, I was already back in my school. I'm in Carador right now. Come back. I'm at school. I don't care, Hammy Bear. I'll be back on Thursday. Then she sends me, wanna hump on this thumpy? Back to Twitter. Please tell me you got this on camera / audio.
Why are you not giving details? I'm not going to give. Why would you ask for my details? I'm in
You've
city.
already said you've been arrested once.
Sorry?
You've already told me you've been arrested.
No, I haven't.
So,
No,
you said that earlier.
No, I said other people have been arrested.
Okay, well, now we've made that clear. I wanted to make sure you didn't have bail conditions, that's to be. So, just to confirm, you're not going to give me your details.
I was holding up a blank sign. Why are you asking for my
You
details?
said you're going to write stuff on it that's
Yeah.
may offend people.
I said I was going to write
around
"Not
the
My King" on a sign, and you asked for my details.
It may offend someone.
Who's
It
that
goes from
going to
there.
offend?
Don't know, but someone may be
Not My
offended
King.
by it.
Someone might be
All right.
offended.
Are you going to listen, or are you just going to talk over me? Is that what you plan to do? Just talk over me continuously?
Go ahead.
No? Thank you. All right. I'll give you some advice. Why are you not giving details?
I'm not going to give you. Why?
These good old defence laws working as originally intended. Long live the king. It appears very many leftists are getting attacked or arrested under offence law. Oh, I already said that. It's incredibly important that at all times, even those of national mourning, that the rights to freedom of expression and peaceful protest are upheld. No one should be arrested for peacefully expressing their opinion. I came for you to help when I was arrested for telling a joke, and you told me to go screw myself. Amnesty International. Reply from Amnesty International. Dear Paul. That was Paul. Thank you for your email. The right to freedom of opinion and expression should be one of the cornerstones of any society. This right includes the freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas for any media, regardless of frontiers. Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19. For more than 40 years, Amnesty International, AI, has defended this right against attempts by governments across the globe to stifle religious dissent, political opposition, and artistic creativity. However, the right to freedom of expression is not absolute, neither for the creators of material nor their critics. It carries responsibilities and it may, therefore, be subject to restrictions in the name of safeguarding the rights of others. In particular, any advocacy of national, racial, or religious hatred that constitutes incitement to discrimination, hostility, or violence cannot be considered a legitimate exercise of freedom of expression under international standards. Such hate speech should be prohibited by law. This you. So, this is exactly the same as when Boris said that, oh, it's so sad that Salman Rushdie has been stabbed. We here in the United Kingdom government love freedom of speech. I said I was going to write Not My King on a sign. I may have found someone who's that going to offend? I don't know, but somebody might be offended. You're starting to get it. Not sure The Guardian or me has ever been in favour of that sort of thing. Hello, Fred. I'm claiming you as one of my people. UKIP welcomes social media activists linked to alt-right into party. Don't think I ever said that any of those briefly prominent types should be arrested. You didn't challenge it, follow up on it, assign those you disagree with as alt-right, even though one of them, pictured, was a Marxist with a massive hammer and sickle tattoo. Come on, man. I don't think anyone else suggested they should be arrested for joining UKIP. That's not what happened. Don't act like you don't know who Marcus is, dickhead. The article only pointed out what their joining UKIP meant for the direction of the party under Jared Bannon. So why didn't you defend his right to free speech when the arrest was made? Why didn't you defend his right to free speech during the trial? Why didn't you defend his right to free speech when they pulled money out of his bank account to pay the fine? Probably because I didn't know much about it. He's not exactly a national figure, and I don't remember reading stories about the court case before it happened. That's a total lie. There is no way in hell that you worked at The Guardian without knowing who Marcus is. Never knew about Count Dankle. Peter Walker on Twitter. UKIP conference now hearing from Mark Meakin. This page doesn't exist. Thank you, Callum from Lotus Eaters. It's amazing what politics will make you forget. Hi, Peter Walker. You made claims that I'm linked to the alt-right, but gave no evidence or reasoning of this in your article. If you could explain your reasoning and give any evidence of this claim, that would be great. Hi, Mark. Sorry for the slightly delayed reply. First thing to stress that with all political labels, alt-right is subjective. Just because I/The Guardian use it doesn't mean you or anyone else has to agree, but many would, as do you. Well, to begin with, you do have links to Stephen Lennon, who many associate with UK alt or right-wing. Hard right, e.g. incessant focus on Islam sort of My phone has a couple of cracks in it. I had to like scroll so I could see what was being covered by the cracks. Sort of cultural populism, etc. More generally, the term can be associated with sort of highly robust, fairly confrontational libertarian right-leaning politics with a dash of support for Trump. And opposition to Islam/immigration. Not saying you tick each box, but seems fair to say you're around that whatever that says. But as I say, feel free to disagree. It's a highly subjective term and in some ways not ideal. All I've gathered from your response is you have no idea what the alt-right actually is or means. As someone who works of The Guardian and as someone who paints themselves as a counter to the hard-right ideology, I'm actually dismayed at how little you know about it. Don't paint myself as anything beyond being a reporter. As I said, we can disagree, but if you feel there's a factual error in the story, I can point you to our excellent and impartial reader's editor. The error is alt-right has a definition and a defined set of beliefs. You've completely ignored them to falsely paint people as alt-right and then say I'm linked to them. It's not a subjective term, just snaky press tactics. I really need a drink. I'm so sorry. Like, it actually feels like I've inhaled, like, dust. Also, there's nothing impartial about The Guardian at all. Again, we can disagree. To my knowledge, no political label has a definitive set of criteria that everyone agrees with. True, there is variance, but there is one key thing that actually makes someone alt-right that defines them from the other ideologies. The belief in an ethno-state. That is basic alt-right 101. Neither I nor Tommy believe in that. Okay, what? Never heard of them. UK's new guard web agitators threaten the Swan Circle and Party. If you paid attention, you'd realise I was saying I had not particularly heard of him before he joined UKIP, the trials before he joined him. Well, actually, there's nothing there about the trial. I hate that Count Dankula, filthy Scot, reeks of Jacobean filth, he does. Rejoice, comrades. The revolution begins today. Then you click on the three dots icon and select Report. Imagine naming your daughter Riley. So before this video ends, I just want to talk about the news that's come out of Assassin's Creed. You know, people saying that there's 5 new games coming out. There isn't 5 new games coming out. So I'll go on these in order. So at the end of the year, we're getting the final chapter of Valhalla, which is an update. Although I've yet to play the most recent chapter. Like the last thing I think the last thing I did for Valhalla was Dawn of Ragnarok. Since then, there's been another update that has story. And then we've got the final chapter, although there was supposed to be an end of Tombs of the Fallen, but I don't think that's happened. So, it's weird. And same thing goes for Mastery Challenge, but I didn't play Mastery Challenge. Then we've Mirage, which is an actual game. They're going back to the roots of the series, which like I said, will be like the first game. Which I hope not, because I actually didn't like the first game. Actually, Charlie's criticism of Saints Row 5 is exactly how you could describe AC1. You know, go to this place, do these same missions so that you can unlock the assassination mission. And do that however many times. I don't remember how many it is. Anyway, then we have there's a mobile game coming out, which it's a mobile game. I wouldn't really count that as a game. But it's called Codename Red, I think. No, it's not Codename Red. It's something else. Codename Red is it says Infinity, like that, and Codename Hex as Infinity on it, which I think that is the MMO that they're doing. So it's 2 games really, Mirage and Infinity. So we've got Codename for Infinity. We've got Codename Red, which, as far as I know, is just a mobile game, but on console / PC. Got Codename Hex, which, from the name, from the logo, and from the very brief and vague description that they've given, I'm going to assume it's something to do with witchcraft, which could be good. And there is... Oh, and the last thing is the Assassin's Creed show. Like, Netflix are making a show. I don't know if it's anime or live action, but all I know is that if it's live action, it's going to be most likely basically the same as the live action Resident Evil, which is very unfortunate.